Hi, everyone. It's Christopher Perez, Director of the Office of Graduate Diversity and Inclusion in the Graduate School here at University of Maryland, College Park. I am getting a lot of emails from students that I worked with in the fall about admissions decisions. And so today's question, today's Ogdi Answers Your Questions, really is about programs notifying applicants of their status, their admissions status. So I just want to remind everyone that you apply to the graduate school, but it's programs that make the admissions decisions. So you can contact me and you can ask me these questions like, when am I going to hear from the program, or am I going to get a funding package? You can ask me these questions, but I might not have the answer because I don't work for all 83 doctoral programs on our campus or the 230 plus graduate programs, other graduate programs. Again, you apply to the graduate school, but it's the programs that make admissions decisions. So the question came up about, when will I be notified? So deadlines have passed. You know, we've reached that time in the calendar year, right? Now we're in January and we're returning from winter break, and classes will start soon. And faculty that are on admissions committees, they're focused on a multitude of things. So keep in mind that they may not have gotten to your application yet, okay? You've applied to, say, 9 schools. You're going to get notifications at different times from different schools and with different funding packages, perhaps. So be patient. My answer is be patient, because admissions committees have to review them thoroughly, and they want to make sure that they're making the right decisions based on the application that you provided. And so, and on average, of our 83, 84 doctoral programs, they get about 200 applications each year. So you have to kind of imagine a small group of people, especially if it's a small department, even smaller group of people, going through 200 applications. There might be a yes pile, a maybe pile, and a no pile. And you can watch some of the other videos that I've put up on developing a competitive application. The number one reason that students don't get into graduate school is that they don't have a compelling enough application that demonstrates that they'll be successful as graduate students. So just be mindful, if you haven't developed that really competitive application that puts you in the top tier, or even the second tier, then you may not be considered, and you may be alerted or notified early on, okay? So that's the first one, is you may be alerted or notified early on about your admission status if you didn't submit a competitive enough application. Number 2, if they're going through 200 applications and they're not sure where they land, they put you in a pile, what I like to call the maybe pile, or the possible pile. And that's where they want to sort of review your application again, right? You can think of this as an alternate pile, but this is where they're sort of on the fence. They're not quite sure, but they want to return to your application. And then there's the yes pile. This is where the applicant has submitted the most compelling, competitive application, and they're all in agreement that, yes, we absolutely want to admit this person. So we'll start from there and then move backwards. So if you're in the yes, absolute, we're admitting this student pile, you're going to be notified early on, okay? And if you're really in the top tier, They may potentially even provide what kind of funding package you would get should you enroll. This is what's called an early alert practice. They want to alert you early on so that you have time to sort of weigh your options between your schools. But it also helps them because if you have offers from other schools that are even more competitive than you, and Maryland is your #1 choice, you can always go back and say, well, such and such university offered me this, can you match that? Or, whatever it may be. It's an opportunity for both the admissions committee and you, the applicant, to have a conversation, right? So if you're in the top tier, competitive, ideal candidate that's demonstrated that you would be a successful graduate student, doctoral student, you will be notified early in the process. Most likely, you will be notified early in the process. If you're in the maybe pile, this is where it's going to take a little bit more time. So the question is, when will I be notified? It depends. It really does depend. Admissions committees have until mid-April to make their final decisions, and applicants have until mid-April to make their decisions. So if you are in the maybe pile, this is where they really want to be thoughtful and thorough. They want to make sure that they are selecting students primarily based on their measurement of success. Essentially, you may be a good student, but you might not have all the research that other students have, but something in your application has demonstrated that you will be successful, that you could successfully matriculate from undergraduate to graduate school. And so it's a time management and time commitment kind of process where admissions committees really want to make sure that they're assessing each applicant in a fair and equitable way. And they have their own rubrics of how to determine if an applicant's going to be successful or not, or if they are going to fit with what the program offers. So that's the question that I get a lot during this time, which is January through say around March. Most from what I understand in terms of admissions committees, again, like I said, if you're in the absolute yes, you've developed that competitive application, you've made a compelling, you've demonstrated that you are a compelling student and that you will be successful, you may be notified early on. However, January comes along, and then February, they're reviewing things. Then we're into March, then there's spring break. I always say to applicants, if you have not heard back from the program after spring break, that's when you start reaching out and getting on their radar. If you've done everything that I've said, which is develop meaningful and strategic relationships with faculty early on, then it shouldn't be a problem reaching out and saying, just following up from our last conversation, or giving them a phone call. If you had a phone conversation with them, you might want to call and just say, I'm curious to know, about my application status, that sort of thing. A really brief email also works. But usually, and this is for most applicants, you're not going to hear back until after spring break, because it is a lengthy process and admissions committees want to be thoughtful and thorough when determining who will be admitted, because they're looking for students that demonstrate that they will be successful. And that's what they are, in my experience anyway, that is what they are measuring. That's the rubric that they use, is, will this applicant be a successful graduate student? And that takes time. So embrace patience. And if you don't hear back from your program, then that's when it's appropriate to reach out and in a friendly way and just say, I'm curious about my application status. If you get an early offer from multiple institutions, communication is key. If you really want to go to Maryland, but you got a better funding package from another institution, it's okay, and it's even appropriate and expected that you will communicate that to the institution that is your top choice. And so be mindful about how you communicate and what you're asking, right? You don't want to put demands on the program, but you want to let them know Maryland is my top choice. However, I got a better funding package over here. Sometimes programs can supplement the funding package that they offer, or they can find more funds elsewhere if you're in that top tier category. So communication is really key. But back to the question, when will I be notified? It's really going to depend on the program, how many applications they got, how much funding they can distribute to students, whether you're at a master's level or a doctoral level, whether you're an international student or a domestic student. There's so many variables and factors that are operating within the admissions time frame, which is mid-January to mid-April. But again, you can email me, but everything that I'm saying in this video is what I would tell you. So I just want you to be mindful that my role in the graduate school is to ensure that you understand the application, that you're getting your application fee waiver, that I'm putting you in touch with the correct resources and contacts. But again, you apply to the graduate school and the program makes the decision. So I would not even know how to answer the question with an affirmative answer. I don't know when you would hear back from the program because I'm not on an admissions committee. So just be mindful that these things take time. And if you get an offer from another institution, communicate that with Maryland and let them know that this is, these are the things that you're going to be managing. Had a nice conversation with somebody last week, and she asked me, when am I going to know? And I had this whole conversation, which inspired this video, in fact. But then it led to other kinds of conversations. And it's just really important how you broach these conversations and your communication. You don't want to come off as arrogant or entitled. You want to be candid and honest, but you don't want to make it seem like it's a threat in any way, that you got this offer from another institution. Well, what is Maryland going to do? And that's kind of how she approached it, was I got I got early admission with this huge funding package, but I really want to go to Maryland. And I said, whoa, 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 whoa. You want to make sure that you broach this in a professional way. And if you don't, and you come at a faculty or somebody on an admissions committee with, well, I got this, what is Maryland going to do? Or is Maryland going to match this? They may reconsider if they haven't made a decision about you yet. They may reconsider based on how you are approaching them. So just be mindful about how you communicate, what you're asking, and also be mindful that these things do take time. And admissions committees want and need to be thoughtful and thorough when making decisions for 200 or more applications. So that, I hope, answers the question, when will admissions committee notify me of my admissions status? The short answer is it depends. And so the best thing that you can do is be patient and reach out to your program at the appropriate time. Okay. Thanks for watching this video. Please subscribe. We're going to have more content coming up soon, including a virtual campus research and culture tour. So look forward to that. Take care, everyone. Bye.